Okay, I believe the part we ended on was practicing f of a and f of a plus h or something like that. Or I think it was a number or whatever was there. So all we were doing was basically learning the parts of the difference quotient, but we didn't actually like do any of the problems. And a few of you tried working on them in the homework and were asking questions on them, and that's good. But we didn't actually do any of them yet. So that's what I wanted to start today with. So the whole point of that long formula is to find the slope. So it says, given the function f of x equals x squared, use the difference quotient to find the slope of the curve at the point 3,9. As soon as I see that immediately tells me that I'm going to be doing that limit of f of x plus h minus f of x, that whole formula. So I'm immediately going to, do you guys want me to write the generic formula down first for a little while?
Yes.
Okay. I was going to immediately start plugging it in, but not x, h. So it's f of x plus h minus f of x. And on the bottom, everything cancels but just h, so this is like the simplified version. So that formula should find us the slope of a curve at any x value, not an individual x value, at any x value. So I'm going to plug this information with my f of x. So honestly, I feel like some students find it easier to do this part first, because minus f of x is literally just subtracting the equation they told us. So I've had some students write this part first. Because f of x is x squared minus f of x, I just subtract the equation I was given. F of x plus h is traditionally most of the work. So you can write it directly in the problem if you want. You can write it elsewhere and then substitute it in. It's kind of up to you how you like to organize your work. I'm just going to write it right up here. So I'm going to put x plus h in place of x, because that whole equation was just x squared. I'm putting x plus h squared. And then I would FOIL that and get x squared plus 2xh plus h squared. So I'm going to write that in my slope formula. And the denominator, I don't do anything with. So on all of these problems, if they are done correctly, automatically the terms that don't have an h will cancel out. X squared minus x squared. And the only terms that are left have an h in them. And that's actually the whole reason we're able to solve these. So because of space, I'm not going to write it twice. Because they both have an h, I can factor an h out. And then this will cancel. All of these questions should actually have the same layout. Obviously, the equation is going to look different all the time. But on this step, all of the terms without an h should cancel. On this step, you should be able to factor an h out and cancel it with the denominator. And then all I have left, I am able to plug 0 in place of h now. And so I would write 2x plus 0. And my derivative or slope at any x value, I'll probably write that up here probably, huh? I mean, this is gonna be way more writing than we normally do for these problems. Slope at any x value for f of x equals x squared. Now, we didn't talk about notation at all yet. This is going to be the correct notation. If f of x is the original function, this is going to be called the derivative, and it's going to be f prime of x. So it's like an apostrophe. And that's going to stand for the derivative or the slopes at any x value. Whenever you see that apostrophe, that represents the derivative slash slopes. So this is half of the work. This only stands for the slope anywhere on that curve. I specifically want the slope at 3,9. Now, some people get really thrown off by this. 3,9 is the x value and the y value. Our slopes only need the x value. So if I want to know the slope, I only need to know the x value, has nothing to do with the height. So my slope at x equals 3, this is how I would write that. The little apostrophe tells me it stands for slope. So the slope at x equals 3 would be 2 times 3. Now, we're not going to try to write all of this every time. This part you'll get annoyed with. That's fine, it's only for a section or two. Or do we have a question on parts of it? Did I go over too fast or something? I mean, absolutely interrupt me if I did. You guys always can do that. Like if I'm going too fast for what it seems like. I don't know, how is this part feel to you? We're okay? Oh, all right. Tangent line. Remember, it's a straight line that shows the slope at that spot. But because it's a straight line, you can write an equation for a straight line. And to write the equation of a straight line, you only need 2 things. A slope and a point. Now, I will tell you this isn't the point slope form that most people know. The person who wrote these notes likes this version. I believe the version you guys are used to is y minus y1 equals x minus x1. I'm assuming this is the one you've done in Algebra 2 and Pre-Calc. They're both correct. So it doesn't actually matter which one you use. This one sometimes can be a little bit easier, I guess. I mean, all they did was add y1 to both sides. So they're the same thing. You guys pick whichever one you want, they're both correct. Okay, but I need these 2 pieces of information to write it. We just figured out that the slope so they changed the notation. Wasn't it f of x up on the first one?
Yep.
Okay. I don't know if that was just an oversight. If the notation is y equals instead of f of x, they use the same apostrophes notation to represent derivative. So you would just write y prime. I'll put the 3 here to represent it was at 3. We figured out the answer was 6. So slope of 6, and we definitely know the point because we were told it. Sometimes we get 48. Oh yeah, we got less than that. I don't know if they really noticed this when they came up with the schedule today, but I'm pretty sure second hour is quite a bit longer than the other hours. I don't really know why. I know they wanted to match up with the normal Raptor time schedule, starting with third hour. So I'm thinking that they just kind of split the difference between first and second hour for some reason. I don't know. So I guess we have extra time today. So you guys have got a bit of time to work. I don't want you to focus on the fact that we were given a point or that we had to find the slope. You're going to get these tangent line problems a lot. The main focus for you should be you need these 2 things to be able to write a tangent line. Sometimes you have to figure out the answer, sometimes you're given the answer. It's always going to be different what you're given and what you have to figure out. So definitely don't try to memorize this layout or setup. But once you know these 2 pieces of information, you just immediately write the answer. Y minus y1, m, x minus x1. This is the equation of the tangent line. You do not need to simplify it to slope-intercept. Like, you can, but they will always accept this answer. Or, the version that is written in the packet is the same thing, but plus 9. So, if you guys if you like one more than the other, just pick one of them. But I'll accept both of them all the time. I don't know. Anything you guys need to ask or you want? Like, these feel okay so far, is the impression I'm getting? Okay? Then let me move to let you guys try one. Before we try one, this is just a reminder. If you go to figure out the slope and then find out it's a vertical asymptote, then that should just be a reminder that if your answer is infinity, it's a vertical asymptote type thing. You don't run into it very often, but if you do, there. Like, in my opinion, you guys would probably know it's a vertical asymptote before you even tried to do it. Because you would see that the denominator has a factor. And if you're trying to find the slope at that vertical asymptote, you just wouldn't even try to do it. So, I mean, this information is correct, but I can't imagine too often you would actually even do this. Okay, see if you guys can figure out the slope of this one. Where was it? I don't want it at A. Here, B. Find the slope at x equals -1. Now, the algebra work might be a little bit harder because it's a fraction. Some of you hate fractions. When the shades are open, is it hard for you guys to see the smartboard? Oh, yeah. When we were in that movie this morning, I had the lights off, they couldn't see it. Yeah, that's why I was just wondering if I could open those back up, if that would be okay. We don't want everybody falling asleep. It's warm in here, it's early. Did you really just move this chair over to this desk?
And it slopes down, it's so weird.
Oh, this chair is
Yeah,
messed
that
up?
chair- Yeah, it like slopes down.
Okay. I thought you just like didn't notice it was right there. Oh, I have no doubt they're broken. These chairs and desks are the original ones still. These desks are like indestructible apparently. But the chairs are not very great. I'm gonna kind of put these two boxes together because I don't have enough space to write up here. I don't know if you guys did the same or not. What did we do? Negative 1/4. Did a lot of you accidentally have positive 1/4? Or should I back up a lot? Am I overestimating your algebra skills?
Why do you, like, put 0 for, like, the age, and just, like, cancel out and just be excellence? Or did you just do that there to show that,
Where are we talking about to start with?
like, at the very end?
Right here?
Yeah.
The whole goal of the problem was to find the limit as h turns into 0. So I couldn't plug 0 in until there wasn't an h on the denominator. So once it canceled off, I could. Like the whole top part, I common denominator. And then this is what I got when I common denominator. This minus sign distributes to everything up there. So x minus x, 3 minus 3, so they cancel. minus H was the only thing left on the top. The bottom I didn't even touch the entire time. And then it was divided by H, so I did keep change flip. 1 over H. Cancel. Go ahead. Yeah.
Where do you get that from?
2. Oh. I plugged -1 in place of X.
Oh.
I just ran out of room, basically. Was this going okay for you? Was it just going slower than I thought?
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay? I guess what I will say is your goal is to try to do it as quick as I did, because when you get to the AP test at the end of the year, you're given 2 minutes and 50 seconds per question. So you would have to do a question like this within 2 minutes and 50 seconds. Now, other questions you can go quicker, so that maybe there's extra time for things like this. But other than that, you wanna be good enough at your algebra where you can just go through it without having to stop and think about what to do. But ask away, like if there's steps up there that confuse you, I can certainly try to explain them or go through them, anything. I'd prefer not to move on until you're okay with this. You still checking it over, Donald? Good?
Yeah.
Okay, sure.
So at the bottom, how is it a negative, how is it a -1 plus 3 squared? Oh, because of the 0, x plus 3.
Yeah, I could have just rewritten this if I wanted to,
Okay,
and then I would have had -1 plus 3, -1 plus 0 plus 3.
okay, I didn't go to the negative, x plus 3 squared.
Yeah, I just kind of started running out of room, so I started
Alright.
combining, yeah.
Could
Perfect.
you explain again why we need to have a limit at 0, why we need to solve for that again?
Oh, why H is going to 0? So H is the distance between the 2 points. And so if we want to find instantaneous slope, we make it so that the 2 points have no distance between them. So that's why H is going to 0. But luckily it'll always be that same setup. So that won't ever change. There is gonna be a different version of this setup that's supposed to be quicker, but I don't wanna do that yet at all. Maggie?
No. I'm just a little confused. I'm trying to figure it out though.
Okay.
Do the H's over, the negative H over the H, that cancels to create -1?
Yeah, because it's negative H.
Oh, I see it, got it. Alright, that makes sense then, thank you.
Mhm. Should I move down? Okay. Try C. So we found the slope. So I put a hint up there if you need it. The two things we need are slope and point. We weren't told everything that we need. We figured out the slope. We know half of the point, because they told us the x value. So you have to figure out the missing number. And that's kind of how I approach it every single time, is I fill in what information I know, and then I go through to figure out what I don't. Yeah?
No, sorry.
Oh, okay, that's fine. I just thought you were trying to ask something. Sophia, we need to wake you up. You look tired. Did you figure out how to figure out the number that we're missing? Oh,
You just,
you want me to call somebody else for help? Okay, I could have guided you, I just didn't know if you'd rather me.
we just plug in -1 to the formula at top, so f of x equals 1.
Yes.
over-
So you would plug -1 into the original function to get the y value. If you plug -1 into the derivative, it gives you the slope. If we plug -1 into f of x, the one right up above there, that would give us the height of the point or the y value. So we need to find that first, so f, so you'll definitely get used to the notation, right? I have a regular f here, which means I plugged it into the original function. I have a prime there, which is the derivative. Was it 1 over x plus 3?
Yeah.
So a half. So we had to figure out the y value. And then once you know that, then you can find everything. Y minus y1. I prefer doing the one that you guys learned in L2 and pre-calc just because that's the one that I've always used. But I don't care which version you use. Do know that in the answer key, they'll always be written the other way. So y minus a half equals -1/4 times x plus 1.
So the other one would just be plus the 1/2 and then.
Yeah, the other version would be plus 1/2. Yep. Did we talk about the normal line at all?
So what?
Okay, it's a definite no by the looks. Occasionally, they ask you for a normal line instead of a tangent line. I don't know why, I'm sure there's a benefit to it for some reason. The normal line is perpendicular to the tangent line. I'm sure it's in your notes right before this. So you don't have to do any more work. I mean, do you guys remember how to figure out perpendicular from slope?
No.
Oh, really?
What's that?
Has it been that long? Flip it upside down and opposite symbol. I think they called it the negative reciprocal in geometry and, okay. So we don't have to do any more work because we're just going to take the slope of the tangent line and flip that upside down, change the symbol. So instead of -1/4, it's positive 4/1. And then you just use the exact same info. Like we've already figured out the point, and we already figured out the tangent line slope. And you wouldn't need to rewrite this, I'm just doing this for your notes. Honestly, I would just immediately write the answer. The answer, everything is identical except for the slope. Bless you. Okay. Now, you definitely probably would have noticed that these don't go super fast. The slope part is what goes really slow. I know it's just sort of brushed over in the notes. It just kind of was like, hey, find the slope. But you're gonna find that that takes like 5-ish minutes or something, right? Like, finding the slope is pretty slow for right now. Hopefully, you're not gonna get too lost in all the different details. It's definitely why I wanted to write stuff down as much as I could, so you could have it written down. You are gonna learn a much faster way to find slope. So that's why I want to say, don't try to get lost in the details of finding slope. Just try to follow our layout of what we're working on for right now. Those are gonna be the main things. Slope, tangent line. We're gonna be talking about those two main things for a while. So, I'll stop here. I know there's some other junk in the packet that's not like super important to me. It basically was using a calculator. But the whole point of all of this is not having a calculator. If we had a calculator, your calculator could figure out the slope for you. Like, you wouldn't do it by hand. So, you should be able to do all of the homework now. If not, I'll gladly help you with parts that you want help with. I wanna go the slowest on this first section because it's kind of like the basics for all the other ones.